Vladimir Putin's vision of a greater Russia is collapsing on the country's highways. Road transport, the lifeblood of Russia's logistics, is facing its worst crisis in 17 years. Fuel shortages, sanctions, and skyrocketing costs have pushed nearly 7,000 transport companies to the brink of bankruptcy. When trucks stop, shelves go empty. When shelves are empty, Russia itself stops. Today, we reveal how the collapse of Russia's highways is bringing hunger to Russian tables. We warned you about the fuel crisis. Now the dominoes are falling. According to Trans.info, 7,000 road transport companies are on the edge of collapse. This is more than a business failure, it's a national emergency. In a country spanning 11 time zones, trucks mean life. They bring food to cities and medicine to villages. But the transport sector is crushed by sanctions, fuel shortages, and a 21% interest rate. And the first victim is your dinner table. To understand the scale of this crisis, we need to look at geography. Russia stretches across 17 million square kilometers, making logistics not a convenience but really a biological necessity. Railways exist, but now they are reserved for Putin's war, moving tanks, ammunition, and soldiers to the front. The trains that used to deliver food, medicine, and clothes to civilians have been replaced with war trains. That's why the highways were the last lifeline for Russians. The arteries from Moscow to Siberia, the Urals to Vladivostok, kept the civilian economy alive. But now, even this lifeline is failing. According to Mikhail Jean, president of Leader Trans, fuel, maintenance, and salary costs have jumped by 50%. Behind this crisis lies Ukraine's strategic attacks. Since early 2025, 21 of Russia's 38 largest refineries have been hit by Ukrainian drones. Facilities like Siezn, Ryazan, and Nizhny Novgorod have been heavily damaged, reducing Russia's refining capacity by 17 to 20%. Russia has oil, but not enough refineries to turn it into diesel for trucks. Supply drops, prices soar. Diesel has shot up from 65 rubles per liter to 85 or 90, and on the black market it exceeds 100 rubles. With tank sizes between 800 and 1,000 liters, filling up costs drivers 70,000 to 85,000 rubles at once, a death sentence for transport companies. Freight rates have fallen by 33%, while fuel costs have risen 20%. Every time a truck starts, companies lose money. But even if money exists, fuel is scarce. The Kremlin limits diesel sales to 200 liters per civilian truck to prioritize military vehicles. Picture Russia's vast geography, 11 time zones, thousands of kilometers between cities. For trucks operating in -30 degrees Celsius, 200 liters barely gets you from Moscow to St. Petersburg. From Novosibirsk to Moscow, a truck needs 1,500 liters. Limited fuel means frequent stops, long queues, bribes, or black market prices, turning a 3-day delivery into a 10-day ordeal. Logistics slow, costs rise, vehicles wear out. Fuel is the final nail, but sanctions add to the misery. Spare parts for European trucks like Volvo, Scania, and MAN are unavailable. Half the fleet is rotting in garages, cannibalized to keep other trucks running. Russian haulers are now buying Chinese trucks like Citra and Shackman, but prices have doubled, and these trucks break down easily in harsh winters. The new truck recycling fee will hit 3 million rubles in 2026. Small companies are returning rented trucks. They cannot afford payments. The investment model has collapsed. Transporting goods is no longer profitable. Trucks stop, goods stop, prices skyrocket. Take butter, a symbol of the crisis. Newsweek and the Moscow Times report prices have surged by 30 to 50%. Transporting milk has actually doubled in cost, and imported palm oil is, well, stuck at the border. Shelves in Moscow and St. Petersburg are even locking butter in security boxes meant for luxury items. One theft of 25 packs of butter led to 10 years in prison, a glimpse of how desperate Russians have become. Butter is a luxury. Potatoes, the staple food, are also rising. Reuters reports potato prices are spiking, hitting the poorest the hardest. With drivers scarce and fuel costly, getting potatoes from field to city has become very expensive. The Borscht Index, which measures the cost of a simple soup, is climbing faster than wages. When the poor cannot afford potatoes, you're not just seeing inflation, you're setting the stage for social unrest. This isn't just Moscow. In Samara, videos show empty supermarket shelves. No eggs, chicken, or vegetables. Authorities blame the weather, but even on good days, shelves remain bare. Large retailers prioritize Moscow to please the elite, leaving regional areas to starve. A grocer in Penza told reporters, "No food, no hope. That is the nation's mood." Patriotic war on TV isn't filling stomachs. Meanwhile, Russia's border crossings have become metal lakes, a full-scale blockade outside, even as internal supply chains collapse. The European Union didn't just close its doors to Russian-plated trucks, it sealed them shut. For thousands of Russia's transport companies, many with the most modern, best-equipped fleets, Europe was their lifeline. Now it's gone. Most of the 7,000 bankrupt companies depended on European routes. Without them, they have nowhere to operate. The impact on ordinary Russians is simple and honestly brutal math. Goods from Europe no longer arrive directly. Instead, they must be rerouted thousands of kilometers through Turkey, Kazakhstan, or Georgia, tripling prices on store shelves. When the EU shut its doors, it wasn't just luxury items like French cheese that disappeared. Vital medicines, cancer drugs, insulin, spare parts for machinery Russia cannot produce, also vanished. Patients in Moscow can't get life-saving treatments. Factories in Tolyatti halt production because broken German machines cannot be repaired. Russia turned helplessly to China, but the border crossings at Zabaikalsk and Błagoveszczensk are outdated, designed for small-scale trade. Now, all imports funnel through these narrow gates, causing logistical paralysis. Trucks wait 500 to 7,500 strong, transit times stretch 12 to 20 days, and drivers survive for weeks in -30-degree metal cabins. China even limits crossings to protect its own economy. At the Kazakhstan border, inspections tighten due to fear of secondary sanctions. This is not trade, it's logistical torture. Inside Russia, authorities respond in ways that are, honestly, quite absurd. Dairy producers, for example, blame butter shortages on ice cream consumption, claiming that Russians are eating all the cream. They point fingers at the weather, the West, and even at consumers themselves. But never at the war that is killing drivers, destroying refineries, and bankrupting transport companies. Meanwhile, desperate citizens are resorting to theft. There are videos circulating that show people stealing oranges. It's tragic, not funny. And now, food availability is turning into food accessibility. The products are there, but most people simply cannot afford them. Why aren't shipping companies hiring more drivers? Well, many are mobilized for the army. A truck driver might be needed as a tank operator or logistics specialist. The army pays signing bonuses that bankrupt trucking companies just cannot match. So, trucks rust in yards while men die on the front lines. This is honestly a demographic suicide pact. Small businesses are disappearing. Transportation costs are up by a third, leaving only large retail chains capable of maintaining their own fleets. Independent truckers, the backbone of Russia's middle class, are vanishing. The market is centralizing, competition drops, and prices rise. Welcome to the Sovietization of the market. History is repeating itself. In 1990, the Soviet Union produced record harvests, yet 2/5 of the food rotted because logistics failed. Trucks were broken, fuel was scarce, and supply chains were severed. Today, Russia is repeating the same mistakes. Railways are dedicated to the war, carrying tanks and ammunition. Now, with 7,000 companies bankrupt, the last lifeline, the highways, is collapsing. From Vladivostok to Samara, people face empty shelves. Back then, it was inefficiency. Today, it's system collapse. Putin once called the fall of the Soviet Union the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. Ironically, he is now repeating the same logistical errors, only on a larger scale. Empires don't die on the battlefield. They die in supermarket lines. And right now, Russia has joined that line. The question is simple. Will food shortages spark mass protests? Can Putin survive if his people go hungry?